All right, wonderful. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Heroes Connect Military to Manufacturing event. We are here today talking with a company who's actively seeking military talent. These events were designed to help the broader military community better understand and get to know the manufacturing and supply chain industries. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rachel Wolford, and I am a director with the Manufacturing Institute, and I oversee the Heroes Make America Military Skill Bridge Training Program. Today, we are featuring one of our Heroes Make America sponsor companies, WestRock. I'm excited to have you all learn more about how this company could be a part of your next career. Before I introduce our first speaker, I want to cover some general participation guidelines. First, as you saw, this event is being recorded and will be sent out as part of an event recap email. Please be sure that you stay muted throughout the presentation to minimize background noise. And finally, I encourage you all to be an active participant. Please feel free to utilize the chat feature during the presentation to drop in questions that you have. We will hold answering questions until the end of the presentation during the Q&A portion. At that time, you can also utilize the raise hand feature so you can ask your questions live. Overall, events like this are your opportunity to join the discussion and ask questions of these industry leaders who you may not normally have access to. Let's go ahead and practice using the chat feature. Open it up and drop in the location where you're seeking employment. Now, while you're doing that, I also want to briefly highlight the Manufacturing Institute's Heroes Make America Military Skill Bridge program. We have many of our current students on this call, but we also have other military affiliated participants, company representatives, and community partners from across the country joining us today. For those of you who may not be familiar with Heroes Make America, we initially launched in 2018 as a DoD-approved skill bridge program for transitioning service members, veterans, and military spouses that provides a variety of certification trainings equipping you for rewarding careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industries. Our students learn a variety of topics to include safety, quality practices, various technical trainings like electrical, mechanical, and pneumatic training, and then we also do a logistics training. We will drop our program manager's contact information into the chat so that you can connect with any of us if you do have questions. In addition to our SkillBridge offerings, we also host a variety of other virtual events to include our weekly Heroes Connect events, which you're on for today, and our quarterly Vets to Manufacturing virtual career fair. We wrapped up one last Friday, and our next one's going to be on November 3rd. So registration's not open for that, but keep your eyes open. We will drop those dates and registration links for you to check out. Without further ado, let's move on to the main feature. It's my pleasure to introduce Brooke Caskey, Manager, Early Career Development with WestRock. Brooke, the floor is all yours.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for that introduction. Yes, my name is Brooke Caskey. I lead the Early Careers team here at WestRock. But before we get started, and just on behalf of WestRock, I want to recognize those of you on the call that have served or actively still serving, and we appreciate your sacrifices and military service. And we're thrilled to be here today to talk about WestRock. We're going to be sharing the current state of the pulp and paper industry within manufacturing. We're going to discuss some career opportunities at WestRock. And as you can see by the photos of our WestRock team here, we have a pretty sharp group on the call today, and this is including employees from various departments across the nation. Many on the call are veterans from different services that have transitioned their careers from military into manufacturing industry. And we have several team members participating that are part of our veteran resource group at WestRock, which is called WVET. And of course, we are all veteran allies and advocates as we share information in support of your transition to the manufacturing industry. And we are extremely passionate about assisting military veterans and spouses with your transitions into the civil sector. So I am excited about our presentation today. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Bob Charleston, who's going to get started with the company overview. All right, Bob.
Thank you very much, Brooke. I appreciate that. Welcome, everyone. Really glad everybody's here. We typically begin all of our presentations by talking about safety. And I noticed that Ralph Horton, wherever you are, that you logged in from Savannah, Georgia. So please be careful out there. I know this is a challenging time for all of our folks. We've got 2 paper mills in Jacksonville. We've got a paper mill in South Georgia. We've got a paper mill in Charleston, South Carolina. So that whole area is really under some pressure today. But Ralph, if you need to jump out or anything, just please go ahead and do that, because we want you to be safe. So with that, I get the opportunity to talk about WestRock. And thank you for the introduction. I am a senior director. I lead what we call our operations excellence team that supports all 31 of our paper mills. So I'm in a position where I get to work with and see the great things that are going on across our entire paper mill network. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, because we also have other parts of our business that equally have leadership and technical type positions that we're looking for. So I'm glad to have a chance today to share with you. I'm a veteran. I spent went through military school, and then I spent 7 years on active duty, and then another 7 years in the reserves, all with armored cavalry, armor and cavalry type organizations. I commanded 2 different cavalry troops in the 2nd Squadron of the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment. That's when it was armored. We had tanks. I know it's not anymore. And I took my first command over to the first Gulf War. So I had a chance to experience a little bit of the same sand that I think many of you have also experienced. So with that, let's begin. So here's a look at WestRock in terms of some numbers. And I always like to say, especially here in the Atlanta area, Atlanta is where our home office is, our headquarters, that we're the biggest company in Atlanta that nobody's ever heard of. And there's a couple of reasons for that. WestRock as a company was actually created in 2015 with the merger of 2 really big companies, and all of that came together, and we created a new name called WestRock. And with that, we do not have a branded product. So we produce the products that all of the consumer products are packaged into. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that fits and what we do and the like here just in a minute. Last year we finished with about $21 billion of sales. We have over 50,000. I think it's about 53,000 now. People working in 30 different countries around the world. Most of our business is in the U.S., but we also have a significant business in other, overseas. I've got a paper mill up in northern Canada that I spend a lot of time with and pay attention to. We've got 4 paper mills in Mexico that we acquired last November, along with a business in Mexico, and then we have a very large manufacturing operation in Brazil, southwest Brazil, and I go down there a lot. I'm going down there in a couple of weeks. So we are all over everywhere, and we have opportunities in just about any location because we produce as close to our customers as we are able. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of who some of our key customers are. We produce into the beverage market, e-commerce. So we make the simplest way to think about WestRock is if you can picture a box of Cheerios, the yellow box of Cheerios. We don't make the bag that goes inside the box. We don't make the Cheerios that go inside the bag. But the carton that bag is sitting in, we made that carton, and we printed all the graphics and sold all of those to General Mills. Then we also made the case that carton is going to ship in. That's the case that goes onto a pallet, onto a truck, and then to wherever its destination is. About 2/3 of WestRock, roughly, makes the case, and about 1/3 of WestRock makes the carton. So those are just a couple of examples. We make many more products, especially in the beverage industry, displays, folding cartons. We make the paper, craft paper, like for grocery bags, and the types of bags that Dog food is placed in, and charcoal, and all those types of things as well. So let's go to the next slide. So this is our purpose statement. So if you think about in the military, typically, especially in a 5-paragraph field order, and I had to check to make sure it's still the same 5-paragraph field order that I used all the time. Paragraph 3 is all about execution, and paragraph 3A, I think it is, where we get into the commander's intent. So innovating boldly and packaging sustainably, that's our commander's intent. That's our purpose. That's why we're here. And it's to think bigger in terms of innovation. It's to be ambitious and to take bold actions when we need to, with measured risk. We treat our customers, and we trust them, that they're always in a position where we are trying to protect their products, and that's about all the packaging materials that we do. And then we are very serious about sustainability. We refer to sustainability as part of the circular economy, and in the circular economy, we produce products out of virgin fiber, straight out of trees and wood chips. That product then is typically recycled, and it goes to one of our recycle centers. We have recycle centers all over the country, which is basically the trash that you're putting out at the curb. If it's recyclable, it goes to one of those facilities. They sort it and take all of that used cardboard or corrugated material, send it to one of our paper mills that specifically is designed to produce paper and packaging using those recyclable cartons. So we made the first carton, we recycled it, and then we made the carton again in one of our recycle plants. And that's part of what we call the circular economy, and that's part of our sustainability mission. Next slide, please. So from a visionary perspective, this is what our chief executive officer threw out at us a couple of years ago, in a process that we call our path to one. And part of being one is also being number one. And we aspire to be the world's best paper and packaging company. Not necessarily the biggest, but we will be the best. And we set that as a target for 2025, and we are well on our way to achieving that target. I think this slide, okay, there it is. Thank you. But we also operate in a way where we embrace our people. Our people always come first in everything we do. And I tell my folks many times that even though we make paper and we make packaging, we make lots of it, we're really in the people business, because it's all about our people, how we engage them, how we treat them, ensuring that all of our folks have a voice where they can be heard, and also that everyone understands and feels like their leaders care about them. And when you think of those two elements of values and culture, many of you who are coming off of active duty, I think that will feel similar to you. Now, it's a different structure, and we don't salute and things like that, but our leaders and the concept of leadership is all about taking care of our people. And that's really deep into what we call our values. Next slide. So I'm going to turn it over to Carrick Lloyd, and Carrick is going to walk us through the next part of this presentation.
Thank you, Bob. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carrick Lloyd, retired Sergeant Major, recently retired out of Fort Gregg Adams as the G357 Sergeant Major, supporting CASCOM and all its elements. And I'd like to say to all of you in transition, thank you for taking time out for joining us today to learn more about our company. As already previously mentioned, I am from Southeast Louisiana, so very familiar with the hurricanes. So for those of you that's in that path, take care of yourself, and we do appreciate you taking time to kind of balance your time and our efforts. So thank you. As mentioned, safety is at the paramount of our company. Most of you coming off active duty, regardless of your service, whether you reserve or guard, safety is paramount to your survival. Our company takes the same approach. I know from the Army standpoint, we always say mission first, soldier follows. But in our company, people matter first. And that was a big pendulum swing from 30 years of managing missions and then people. But here in our culture, in our company, we put our people first. They are our priority, and that's why we make safety first. So as you transition and you start looking at job placement and manufacturing, learn more about it, I think you'll see that is a huge ordeal. And the first perspective of any job is that you can do it safely and that you get to go home every day, because most of you have spent your life balancing other challenges that will prevent you from going home. So we want to make sure that when you come to work, you get to go home safe. So if we can transition to the next slide, please. So WestRock safety goal is 100% safe. That is our goal. And we do that through, again, effectively empowering our people to make safety decisions, to stop or notify leadership on the floor, or just make the decision to stop operations if an unsafe act is seen. As Bob mentioned, from the mill side, if you have an opportunity, if you do, take a look at how we make paper. But I am area learning development for what we call the corrugated side. From that first chart, my division, we're responsible for about 57 million corrugated containers that we produce each day. One of my key roles is to ensure that anyone coming into WestRock, me and personnel on my team for learning and development, within the first 3 weeks, we want to make sure that you're properly onboarded, that you understand what's expected of you. And throughout that process, you get about 10 to 15 hours of safety training about how to be safe, whether it's in a climate controlled environment, a not climate controlled environment, working around machinery, but just day-to-day routines of where to walk, what not to walk on, so that you don't have slips and fall, trips, bumps and bruises. Because again, working in manufacturing, there's a lot of areas that you could hurt yourself. For something as small as a paper cut to getting your hand caught into a machine. So we spend an extensive amount of time before you even get to the machine, ensuring that you're well aware of all those processes and procedures so that you can go home to your loved ones with all 10 fingers and all 10 toes every day. But more especially to that, as you learn more about our agency and what we do, as mentioned by Bob mentioned about the Cheerios, from a corrugated standpoint, we make a lot of pizza boxes. So as we came out of the pandemic, a lot of you probably enjoy pizza on a daily basis, a lot of other food consumption. So we are a first step in that process of converting that roll of paper to a pizza box so that you can get dinner every night. I've now been with WestRock about 10 months, and I find myself every time I go into the store checking boxes to see where they come from and who made it. And I'm now beginning to show that to my family and friends that we made that box. So 99% of the things we consume come from some paper source or product that WestRock touches, and it's really enjoyment to come from leaving the military and then having to found a home to where I'm still making a difference for everyday personnel and citizens. So the daily attributes of helping mankind continues while I work here at WestRock. We can move to the next slide. And sticking with our safety strategy, as you see on the screen, we do that through a process what we call HOP, human
Organizational performance.
Human organization performance. Thank you. Got caught up on that. So those 4 pillars that you look in front of you, people, process, prevention, and performance. So from a people standpoint, again, we strengthen our culture and our safety through leadership, through team member engagements. So as we move into culture, you'll see within WestRock, as most of you probably familiar with your units, you have a safety NCO, a safety officer that's responsible for doing risk assessments on a daily or every time we do operation or anytime we move some equipment. But within WestRock, that's at the employee level. Everybody's responsible for safety at their level. Overall safety, we have safety and environmental managers that do that. But every morning before we start work, there's an opportunity for anyone to point out and acknowledge any safety incidents or hazards. We empower that through a HOP program. I know my time in the military, if there was an unsafe act, we went after that person. Again, changing culture, coming to WestRock, we don't blame people. We understand that people make mistakes. What we want to do is prevent and encourage people to say something and do something before that mistake costs someone else their life. The second thing we want to do is that we teach is that blame fixes nothing. So imagine a work environment where incidents and accidents happen. There's no blame. We're trying to get to the root cause of why this happened. There's no blame. And that, I know for me, that was a vast difference from coming from the military into the corporate world. Understand, like, we don't blame nobody. We're not looking for someone to pin this on. So that's a change in culture, because again, it does no good when someone loses their life and we're trying to blame that person for loss of life. That's not how it happens. And third thing is learning to improve our situations. That's vital to having a good, safe working environment. Four is context of driving behaviors when it comes to safety. We want safety to be part of your everyday on the job and off the job lifestyle. So we need you to go home and be safe around your family so you can come back, but more especially, we don't want you to do unsafe things with your family as well. And then the response matters. Oftentimes when someone says something is safe, we mitigate to the mission and we keep doing it. That's not WestRock philosophy. If WestRock is something that's deemed unsafe, it's going to be thoroughly looked at and investigated and mitigated to a point where before we do anything else, we're going to eliminate or put some type of caution or lockout procedure on that unsafe act, that it is no longer part of the process. In my case, making boxes or anything else that we're doing that day. And within that process, we try to build that through health and safety, our sustainable health and safety system, whether it be ergonomics, whether it be gloves or any equipment that you needed. All that WestRock takes first and foremost in ensuring that our employees are wearing the proper PPE to perform their duties safely. Some of our personnel work inside factories where temperatures may climb hot, so there's sustained water breaks. During the summer months, there's extended lunch breaks or extended breaks during the day, just so that personnel could properly acclimate, hydrate, and stay in good working condition throughout the day. And none of that's a negative aspect to a person saying, hey, I'm too hot, or I need additional drink of water. That person has the ability to go do that without someone having to hold his or her hand or getting some type of approval. Whatever it takes to make things effective, that's what we do in our corporation. And then prevention, we do this through risk control. Every week before we start a mission, we look at any high-risk tasks that we may have that week. We take those tasks on throughout the week to make sure that our employees understand when they're happening, what's the effects of those happening, and how to prevent any injuries that may take place during that particular high-risk event. So we don't want anybody to be uninformed about anything that's going on that's considered high risk. And then overall, that improves our performance, which drives our engagement. We have a very successful business that requires successful operations, which we must do safely in all aspects of our operations. So one thing that we strive to do is eliminate change events and reduce risk through engagement, execution of targeted, results-driven activities, and focus on system design for continuous improvement. So no one should come to work and lose their life over making a box or some simple because they didn't know. So within WestRock, safety is a number one concern of our personnel and our team. Next slide. And with safety, that also, again, drives our culture. Within WestRock, we have WestRock groups. Those groups are led by employees within WestRock. We have a veterans group, as Bob stated. I'm also a part of that group that has many other different avenues. But within our diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging groups, there's many groups that employees can belong to that are led by employees to help improve their workplace, community, and our marketplace. We are very diversified with our personnel and hiring anyone and everyone that has the opportunity and ability to work within our group and provide us with the best work so we can, on our path to one, become the best paper and packaging, the number one paper and packaging company in the world. Not the largest, but the best. So we do that through our workforce diversity. Transition from the military, I am originally from Louisiana. My father, uncles all worked in the paper mill right there in Hodge, Louisiana. So I kind of grew up understanding at that time Rock 10 or Stone Container before where we are now, WestRock. And as I transitioned out of the military, like most of you, kind of figured out what I wanted to do or what was the best thing for me to do. So after COVID, I ended up transitioning, but being that there was only a few things that during COVID it wasn't impacted, paper is something that we needed. That was a big commodity during COVID that was pretty seen by all, whether it be tissue or paper towels. Everybody stockpiled that during COVID. and WestRock was a leading contributor in making sure that our shelves stayed full. So I had the opportunity to only do one job fair, which WestRock was there, but at the time, they wasn't a part of the Skill Bridge or Hiring Our Heroes program. But now that we are, after I got in, I think it's a huge advantage to continue the service to helping out when it comes to diversifying and understanding the workplace and what you can bring to our communities. We are leading innovators. Most of you have been to some type of leadership school that transitioning will help you in our community and our company because you have been trained and certified as a leader. And for some of our positions, that's exactly what we need. Trained and certified leaders to help propel ourselves to a futuristic company in 2025, being the leading innovator in paper and recycling. Next slide, please. Here's some of our WestRock resource groups. And again, all these groups are led by WestRock employees. They meet monthly, if not quarterly. Just like from most of you have come from equal opportunity programs or equal employment programs. WestRock is very involved in having their employees sustain within and outside of WestRock with community engagement and resource groups to support all the personnel within our company. These are just a few of the groups that we have. There's opportunities for community engagements, volunteering efforts, and you probably will see us at a lot of job fairs and other events outside these groups working as far as recruitment or just to bring notoriety to what's going on for that month. So just like in the military, we have different ethnic observances. WestRock does the same thing. There's calls, there's events to help support all the personnel that works within WestRock. Next slide. Yeah, thank you for taking time out of your day. I'll be followed by Mr. Bob Charleston again.
Hey, thanks, Carrick. Appreciate that. Great job in sharing all that information. This is a very it's a very large company. It's a very busy company because we have so much going on, so much innovation, and so much volume. But it's a company where you can also recognize that it's your company, and you don't get lost in the thousands of people that we have in every one of our locations. Our people come first, and that's the primary responsibility of anybody in a leadership role, including any of you that come and join us in a leadership role. Let's go to the next slide. Here's some more information about WestRock. We call ourselves vertically integrated, and you may wonder what that means. Well, what it means is we make paper, and then we convert that paper into a corrugated box or a cardboard box. We produce pizza boxes. We produce a lot of the boxes that Amazon uses. If you get anything from Walmart.com, we probably produced it. We also do the carton that a 12-pack of Coke sits in. We also do in our consumer packaging business during COVID. We became one of the very few companies that were certified to create the packaging materials for all of the COVID test kits. Not just the carton, but the actual package that the COVID those testing tubes were placed inside. Big responsibility to get it right fast, and then to meet the volume, especially as those test kits were really being manufactured fast. So we procure or we purchase about 45 million tons of what we call fiber. And fiber comes in two different forms. It comes in virgin form, where it's coming straight from a tree and from a forest. And we also procure recycled fiber, as I talked about earlier, coming out of recycle plants. In the mill system, we have 31 mills. We have the capacity to generate 16 million tons of paper. And the numbers probably don't quite connect because unless you see the size of a roll of paper, and we make paper as wide as 330 inches wide and that particular machine runs at 4,000 feet per minute. So we make a lot of paper, and we make it really fast, and we do it safely. As I said earlier, we make paper and then we convert that paper. So we have over 300 converting operations or operating facilities. So we have mills that make the paper, and then what we would call plants, the converting facilities that take that paper and convert it into something that meets the needs of our customers. And we do printing, we do lots of different things, again, based on whatever the customer's need is. Next slide, please. Here's some examples of some of the products that we make. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but it'll kind of give you an idea. One thing I'll point out is that 8-pack of Coke in the lower right corner, that is not a plastic sleeve on the top of, or plastic rings on the top of that group of cans of Coke. That is a paper-based product that we are beginning to mass produce. We're selling them in a lot of different countries. We're getting into the US now, finally, and it's a paper product that you pick up just like you would pick up the plastic product, and we keep all of that plastic out of our landfills and out of our oceans. And that, again, that's part of the responsibility we have, is to make this a better planet. And producing something in paper to replace something that currently uses plastic is a step in that direction. Next slide, please. So that leads us into sustainability. And we talked about this just a little bit earlier. There's really 3 parts of sustainability for us, and that is supporting people and communities, and supporting the people who rely on and those who rely on us to produce products that are innovative and recyclable. So up until about 3 years ago, I think it was, a pizza box was not recyclable because we had to put a coating on the corrugate. We had to put a coating on the paper so that grease would not leak through. It had to be pretty much watertight. Well, we developed a product that enables us to continue to produce pizza boxes to the same quality, but now are also recyclable. So Domino's picked that up first, and now it's been followed by the major pizza makers across the U.S. We also focus on bettering the planet, championing the recyclable, kind of the sustainable forest, that we plant more trees than we harvest. Like I said earlier, I've had a good fortune of spending a lot of time in our business in Brazil, and in Brazil we actually grow our own trees. We make or we produce the trees, the eucalyptus trees and the pine trees that we use there to produce paper. In the U.S. and other parts of the world, we do not grow our own trees. We've just made that choice in terms of the make-buy decision, and we purchase all of that fiber from other companies and then convert it, or make paper and then convert it. We also want to continue to innovate, similar to what I was describing with the pizza box, because we want to make sure that everything that we produce is circular. Another example is we're working with Starbucks right now to produce a cup that is easier to recycle. And previous to the work that we're doing, Starbucks cups really were not recyclable. And now we're moving closer and closer to the place where Starbucks is the industry leader, and we're producing paper products now that meet all of the needs and specifications of Starbucks, and we can do it with paper that is much easier to recycle. Next slide, please. And with all that work, we're getting some recognition. Here's some highlights. We spent more than $1 billion with small and diversity-owned suppliers, and we beat the goal that we had set for ourselves. So we embrace the types of suppliers that meet our values. In innovation, you can see the picture of the cans of Coke, and really focusing on the enhanced circularity of bringing all of the elements of our circular economy together. We focus on bettering the planet. Every one of our mills, at least the ones that I'm, that part of the business that I'm affiliated with, we have science-based targets for every one of our locations to reduce greenhouse gases, and reduce the amount of product that goes to our landfill. We have one paper mill in South Carolina, in Cowpen, South Carolina, that actually is 100% water recyclable. So the water that they use in the manufacturing process is recycled, and it goes right back into the manufacturing process. So they're setting the mark, they're setting the pace for what the rest of our paper mills in our company will follow. So let's go to the next slide. Again, we talked a little bit about bettering the planet. At the lower part of this slide is where you can see our industry partners and customers who have recognized the work we have done and recognized that we are doing some things that are innovative. They're focused on our purpose statement, and they give us the ability to create a distinct advantage over our competitors. And we use that distinct advantage to create differentiation. So we're not just selling paper and everybody else is selling paper. We're selling a product, and part of that product is our company. So it's not just the paper, it's everything behind that in terms of the sustainability work, all of the other things we do to take care of our people and our communities. That becomes our brand, and we're very proud of that. So let's go to the next slide. I think I'm going to be followed by Brooke.
That's right. Thank you, Bob. All right, so we're going to wrap up today just talking about some career opportunities, and then I'm going to turn it over to some of our other WestRock team members, and then we'll take your questions after that. So WestRock is committed to building a workforce skilled in modern manufacturing, and so we're making strategic investments to increase the awareness of jobs and hone the skills are required for a successful career in our industry. All right, Rachel, next slide. Yeah, so people play a vital role here at WestRock, and we're connecting people to products. We have a lot of different types of career opportunities across the company, different departments. We have opportunities in engineering, and typically we're targeting different degrees there: mechanical, chemical, electrical, instrumentation, controls. We have operations careers, more exempt roles for management, supervision to our hourly roles like operators that run machines. We also look for transportation backgrounds for drivers, fleet managers, and we have maintenance opportunities. This includes all levels of management, various technician roles with backgrounds in mechanical, electrical, instrumentation, and controls as well. And so opportunities in paper, packaging, machinery innovation. So we have labs, we have a pilot plant where we produce new products for customers. We also have a packaging and machinery innovation centers. And we have packaging designers where we have structural and graphic design professionals. Consumer insights group works with our customers on the packaging solutions. And we also have a machinery innovation group as well. So next slide. Yeah, we have functional roles, and this is different types of roles in our functions. I think you heard Bob mention before just the positions that we may have in the field. Our forestry group where we're going to grow and we're going to procure the trees. We have positions in IT, so cybersecurity, network operations. We have help desk, communications, finance, which includes accounting, analyst type roles. We have audit roles as well, human resources to include, HR generalist, talent acquisition, benefits administration, employee development, HR, IT systems, and that's just a few. Supply chain roles like logistics and procurement and safety and environmental roles as well. And so finally, and this area is near and dear to me since I lead the team, but we have several career progression opportunities for transitioning service members and veterans completing their degree post-military service. We hire a lot of people into entry-level type opportunities across the organization, and that includes, internship, co-op. We have summer students, part-time positions. And I want to take some time too, just to highlight our management trainee program, since we hire a lot of transitioning military into these roles. And so the management trainee program, it's a 12-month program, and we're targeting transitioning service members, so backgrounds in either operations, logistics, maintenance. And ideal candidates are typically looking to launch a successful post-military career as leaders at WestRock. And just a typical day in the life of management trainee, it's spent around learning about people, the processes, prevention, performance, and these are the processes that go into making a product safely, the quality parameters, and at the cost that is market competitive. So that management trainee, they're going to rotate through various functional areas, and they're typically spending about 6 months to a year, like in an assigned function, which is going to provide them exposure and knowledge to various areas of the business. And the intent really is to, identify an area of the business that will engage the individual in their career aspirations. And so we have current openings and locations across the U.S. right now. And then this year, excited that WestRock was approved by the DoD to start SkillBridge program. And so this is the 90-day training program. It kicked off in June. We're looking for candidates with, similar experience, which aligns with the management trainee program. We have a 90-day onboarding training program, as I mentioned, to help get those folks on board. And our goal is, to convert those individuals into full-time roles in the business. We also hire experienced service members into professional roles that are full-time positions. And, you're going to get exposure into various types of facilities and roles within the organization. We have advancement opportunities within your area of interest, opportunities to participate in project teams focused on performance excellence and safety. We also have opportunities to access courses to enhance technical skills, personal and professional development. And so, when I think about the people that we hire at WestRock, I think about hiring people that are a fit for our company culture, but we have tools available to teach the technical skills if you have those transferable characteristics. And, you learn those in the military, like proven leadership, mission focused, you're adaptable, strong work ethic, the integrity, loyalty. These are the most important characteristics that we look for as we hire new teammates across the nation. And that's why, we turn to the military and veteran community to recruit and hire for positions at WestRock. And again, as we mentioned before, we have many veterans that work for WestRock all over the U.S. We're ready to mentor, guide, help to onboard those fellow veterans. And really that's the mission of our veteran engagement team. And so we're not just a veteran friendly company, we are a veteran ready company, and we're prepared and we're ready to bring in more veterans into our company because we know what value you generate. And so that's it on our opportunities. I'd like each of our panelists, we have a few other folks on that I want to introduce. They're going to share just a brief overview of their role, so the location, what they support, and opportunities where they will be targeting military service members and veterans to fill open and future positions. So with that, I can turn it over to, I see Chris on the screen. Why don't we turn it over to Chris Amato, and he'll do an introduction and talk about his role at WestRock.
Thank you, Brooke. Appreciate the time, everybody, this afternoon and for your service. I've been at WestRock about 10 years. I'm a good example of the opportunities that WestRock has to enable employees to move around and experience different things. My first 9 years at WestRock were in the finance organization, and I stay in touch with the finance organization, and there are periodic postings out there related to accounting and finance within the umbrellas that Brooke mentioned a little bit earlier. Also, within the past year, I moved into the Mach 1 project team, which is essentially the business systems transformation for the entire company. So I'm getting exposure to demand planning, as well as now doing some more finance related work as a liaison between finance and our operational personnel and finance support people. So any project related or any position that mentions Mach 1 is a project that, if you want to reach out to me, I can connect you with, HR or the hiring person etc. So there's all sorts of projects related to it. It's continuing to grow and determine what our needs are, but there are roles related to IT, finance, supply chain, etc. And this is a major part of the Path to One and the 2025 goals that we have, and it's going to impact the entire company. So very exciting to be a part of that. And feel free to reach out anytime. My LinkedIn information has been dropped into the chat earlier.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Jeremiah, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Johnson. I too was previously Army, similar to Kedrick or Carrick, excuse me. 10 years in military altogether, roughly 10 in this industry. About half of that technically, I guess, with WestRock via capstone years. My career has mostly been on the operations side of the house, although I did dabble some in continuous improvement and also converting and finishing operations with other companies. And there's a lot of commonalities within our industry, especially in the operational side of the house with some of the operations you see in the military services. So if you got any questions, I try to also add my LinkedIn information. The link came out a little weird. Hopefully Brooke can help me get that cleaned up some, but been in the same shoes as some of you all, transitioning off of active duty over to the civilian side and trying to figure out what options there were and which paths to take. So again, a lot of the commonalities with our industry made it somewhat of an easy transition. So if you got any questions and want to reach out, I will respond to those. Also, a strength you bring that you may not be aware of is, as old as our industry is, there's a huge opportunity to standardize and develop and refine our SOPs, both in the form of tasks that we perform and opportunities to get people trained and acclimated very quickly. And one thing I think veterans and those that still serve have in spades is our ability to deal with some ambiguity and put some structure into that based off what we're accustomed to from start to finish in our career with the service. So that's all I got for today. Thanks.
Jeremiah, thanks. Next, we have Austin on with us.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Austin Moen. I'm the Learning and Development Specialist at the St. Paul Mill in Minnesota. We're a coated recycled board mill. So like Bob was talking about earlier, we're one of those mills that gets recycled fiber and turns it back into a paperboard product again. Most of the board that we make becomes cereal boxes, Triscuit boxes, boxes for coated tissues. My primary role here is to manage and improve the training programs at the mill. So anything from employee onboarding to on-the-job training, which we do a lot of. The majority of the training and paper making happens on the job. This mill's been in an operation since 1907. With 2 paper machines here, just under 240 employees at the St. Paul Mill. So, but we still have open roles. So we have a lot of opportunities in the maintenance area. We got lubrication specialists, machinists, and maintenance electrician openings. So if you have experience in those areas, there's definitely a place for you in a paper mill. As well as if you have a mechanical engineering degree, we have a maintenance mechanical engineer job open here too. So if if you happen to have an engineering degree and you're more into the troubleshooting and problem solving side of machines rather than the design and project side, that'd be a perfect role for you. It's a really rewarding job, and it's a good industry to be in. And although it's tough to see the WestRock branding on boxes, it is rewarding to go to the store and see a Triscuit box and know that paperboard was made here. So my LinkedIn information is in the chat. So if you have any questions on recycled mills or or any of the opportunities I talked about, feel free to contact me.
Excellent. Austin, thanks. I'm not sure if John ended up joining us. I know John, did he not? Okay, so I think that's it. Okay. All right, so that's it. That's kind of the remaining WestRock team members that we had on today. I do see some questions in the chat, so we can go ahead and move to those. And again, if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. We'll get to those. Chris, thank you. I saw he put the link in here to our careers page. I saw some questions before about whether or not we have opportunities in some specific locations. Feel free, you can go to that link. You can search by location. You can search by role. Yes, we have some opportunities in California, I believe. I don't know in the specific county, but run a search and you'll see like what we have available there. There is, so there's definitely information about, WestRock, our specific locations that Chris put in the chat, and opportunities as well.
I did see a question for the management training program.
Yes.
Is there a specific job posting for that where they could see what locations has that available, or how do they find that information on the management training program?
Yeah, that's a good question, Rachel. So actually those positions currently are posted by location, but you should be able to search a management trainee role and see where we have those located instead of a central posting. So let's say you're interested in an engineering intern position. We typically have a 1 to 2 posting, just like a posting for that by term that you can go out to, but we'll list all the locations within that posting, for example, but management training will be posted by the specific locations. But feel free to search. We do have them in different areas.
Perfect. And when you search and you find a position you're interested in and you apply, we've got all these wonderful people who've dropped those LinkedIn contact information in the chat there. We were having this conversation right before the call started. They're giving it to you front and center, guys. This is a wonderful opportunity to engage directly with the WestRock team so that as you identify career opportunities you are interested in, now you have somebody you can reach out to ensure that there's a follow-on conversation that takes place. So don't pass up that opportunity. Connect with everybody, build that network for yourself. There was a question in here, Brooke. If somebody fills out an application, when should they potentially expect to hear from someone? Is there a specific window that you keep your applications open for, or are you continuously, it's open, but you're continuously interviewing while it's open? Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Yep, that's a good question. And I think it's going to depend on the role. I think with some, we may be looking to expedite some of those positions. So some maybe you might hear from us faster than others, just depending on the turnaround for that role. So I would say it's just going to depend maybe on the position and the location. We have a talent acquisition team here at WestRock that support different areas of the organization. So, typically you're going to hear from a recruiter. We try to have a pretty good turnaround there from the time that once you post or submit. We're eager to talk to folks, and so but also connecting on LinkedIn with us or reaching out to me directly. We actually do have a military and veteran program manager. If I did not plug that at the beginning, but Jennifer Allen is great. She really leads the programs, military and veteran program for WestRock. She's out currently, but we will be kind of working in the interim to, respond to anybody that has questions or is interested in opportunities. But typically she's been kind of our point of contact for that. And when she gets back, we're going to make sure she gets connected with everybody.
Thanks, Brooke. And then
Bob, I saw, do you have a hand raised? I want to make sure that we get to you.
Yes, sorry. And I'll echo what Brooke said. If you work with Jennifer Allen, she's incredible. And we're so happy to have her on our team as our outreach into the veteran world. I failed to mention that we have openings on my team, especially and specifically in the continuous improvement world. So if anyone has that aspiration or that interest, you'll see some of those opportunities available. And as Rachel said, please reach out. You know, from my standpoint, especially as a veteran, I want to help you. And if that means coming to WestRock, that's great. If it means going somewhere else, I still want to help you. So you don't get too many people that will answer your questions or, you know, accept a connect request. So, you know, follow me, anything like that you'd like to do on LinkedIn. And the one thing I want to really stress, in fact, I got passionate about it, so I started writing about it, is you know more about manufacturing than you think you know. And what I mean by that is, if you go all the way, you know, I'm going back a little while, but I was taught, especially when I was going to become a lieutenant, that you have 3 things that you have to accomplish. Number 1, you have to take care of your people. We call that safety, but it's all encompassing. In the military, you know, you got to take care of your people, you got to take care of your equipment, and you have to accomplish your mission. And those 3 principles completely convert and transfer into our business.
Perfect. Thanks, Bob. I was flipping through here real quick. And I know we see a lot of people naming specific locations in there. So I want to just reiterate once again, visit that WestRock careers page because they have so many locations, right? We saw that 300 plus number and so many different opportunities. Go out, do a little bit of research yourself. It shows a little bit of initiative, right? Dig in, find those roles you might be interested in. And then once you identify, connect with that WestRock team, right? Ask about those specific positions, apply and follow up and let them know that you've applied for those positions, right? We want to make sure we keep the session a little general, but we want you to know that you've got that follow-on point of contact that's going to be really critical and essential for you. And I wanted to flag, I know somebody asked about outdoor roles. Bob was wonderful with answering that. They have those opportunities out there and available to you. We've got a slew of logistics folks that are on the call with us. Search those logistics positions with an organization this large. Logistics is key and critical, right? So really important roles. And then I just had to flag the fact that you guys had that wonderful Green Bay Packers M&M display in that picture. Huge Packers fan here, so thank you for that. Great job. Bob, are you a Packers fan as well?
Yes, I grew up in northern Wisconsin.
All right,
it's unavoidable.
Do we have any questions that maybe I missed, or did anybody have any additional questions that you wanted to ask? We maybe got room for maybe one more before we wrap up the session today.
Yes, I wanted to find out, I just got my certification in computer graphics, and I wanted to go into like the like advertising or designing the cardboard boxes.
So sorry, Frederick, did you say you just received your degree, or did I miss that?
Yes, I did. I was in the VRAP program. You ever heard of that? The government sends the military people back to school. And I just got my certification May 14th.
Great.
And I'm ready to go to work, but it's tough.
Well, if you want, feel free. You can send me a message on LinkedIn. We can connect. We can talk some more about potential opportunities, maybe in the design space, you know, getting your information out to some of the folks that may be looking. So thanks for letting us know. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me directly, and we can probably send some stuff over to you that might be of interest.
What's your name?
This is Brooke Caskey. And Rachel, I don't know if we're sending anything out after the call, or are you just keeping it in the chat?
You said Rachel.
So we'll send that recap email that will have a recap video and key contact information from the folks that were on the call today, so that you can re-engage with them as well, Frederick, in case you don't have the opportunity to write her info down. So
perfect. Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome. Well, I know we're at the top of the hour, and I know we may not have gotten to all those questions, so I'm going to plug again. We've got that contact information in the chat right now, so capture that. We're going to send that recap email. and engage with the WestRock team. You know, like Bob talked about, it's not very often that you get somebody who says, hey, I'm here, I'm available, you just got to reach out, right? So we've got to take the step and make sure we reach out. WestRock, I want to say thank you so very much for not only sponsoring the Heroes Make America program, but really for your commitment to the manufacturing and military communities. We appreciate you being on with us today, answering those questions that they had, and really just educating everybody on everything that WestRock brings to the table. So thank you so much for being here with us today. So some next steps for my participants: explore that WestRock career website, okay? Connect with these folks and follow WestRock on LinkedIn. Always, we want to tell you to follow Heroes Make America as well. You can connect with our team, and we can help make any connections that you need. And then, of course, we have our next event, which will be next Wednesday, September 6th. You're probably seeing a poll pop up at this time with a couple of questions. But just join us for all of those events, explore all these opportunities, right? You may not have known who WestRock was before the call today. Now you're a little more knowledgeable about who they are. So go explore those opportunities. They're everywhere. And if the Heroes team can be of any support to you, please just let us know. Thanks for joining us today.
Does she have an email on LinkedIn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to
Yes,
send all
Frederick.
that out after in the recap.
Yeah, because if I can go back and watch it and get the email, I'll send my information over to you.
Yep, you'll get everything via email, Frederick, based on your registration today.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day.
All right. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Rachel.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.